there's a question that I have for you. Like before you prepare to perform, do you have a warm-up regime that you go through to like get your body ready to perform or compete? Or
that came in stages. Every decade that changes. When I was a kid, I would just show up 20 minutes before, warm up, split, do some things, push-ups, demi-plie, do a little bar work, and then I'm ready. I didn't even run it. I would just go and perform it. I didn't even run it. Because I was doing one-nighters. I would get in a car and we'll drive to a hotel in the Catskills, the Poconos, and we'll just do one-nighters. Or we'll go to a club. They're not going to give you any rehearsal time. They're not going to give you any of that. I'm an opening act. I'm not the star. And, we're usually the acts that go before the star. They used to call them opening acts. They don't even have them anymore, I don't think. But I did that when I was a kid. As I got older, my warm-up became longer, right?
Yeah.
And then I started to take naps, so I could get strong. And then I would go into the extreme diet where I don't eat anything before that day when I perform. So I will only eat after I perform because I like to feel empty and fast. So I went through that phase, and now I warm up, I take a nap, I do all three.
Okay.
I do all of that now.
I have a funny story for you. So when I was backstage at a Congress, I can't remember where, in Europe somewhere, and Tropical Gem, Fernando Souza's team, are backstage, and Yamalei are backstage. And Tropical Jam all have their jackets and their hoods on, and they're doing push-ups and they're exercising, and they have like a 30-minute warm-up regime. And you look across at Yamalei, all the girls are splitting, the guys are doing push-ups, like everyone's getting ready to perform. And then Osmar,
he's laying down.
He's sleeping.
Yeah. But when you get older, you kind of have that confidence, and he probably did a little warm up in his room.
Yeah.
And it comes down, and that's when he does the whole psychological meditation thing. He just stay down, disconnects from everybody, just go over the routine in his head, and then he goes out and does his thing. There's nothing wrong with that, but that works for him.
And he's flawless. Like, he doesn't make mistakes, but like he woke up and he went,
right.
Okay,
but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but I know how Yamalei rehearses.
Yeah.
They rehearse like almost
Non-stop.
every night. They don't mess around. They rehearse a lot.
Yeah, not at all.
Because the level they're presenting is really high. And I'm pretty sure Tropical Jam rehearses the same way.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't be at the level they're at. You can't be at that level if you don't rehearse a lot. Yeah.
I think they do 4-hour training sessions, at least.
Yeah, and that's no different than a professional dancer in on Broadway.
Yeah.
They'll wake up, take a class, maybe 2 classes, and then go and warm up and then do the show. It's an hour and a half show they got to do. They got to be in shape.
Mm.
Yeah, but I lately I warm up in the room, and then I'll take a nap. Then I'll do a couple of stretches. Then I'll come back down and I'll do a little thing. Sometimes I want to connect with a toy, or when I used to dance with Katie, the same thing. Just go over some things, part of the routine, just to connect, Yeah. And then we're on.
Mm.
Yeah, if it's up to me, I wouldn't do tech. And there are some times where I don't do tech. I tell them, you know what I do. You hide me. You don't need to see me again. I'm at the age where I don't want to do a tech.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair enough.
Put me where you want to put me, and I'll go on and do my job.
Mm.
And if you're disappointed with my job, don't hire me. Not to say, it's just sometimes, who wants to sit, you got 30 acts, and 27 of them are amateurs. Well, then, go, that's fine. You want to detect them, you want to do your thing, fine. But, when you hire a professional that's been doing this for as long as I've been doing it, you have to respect people's wishes. I mean, I know the Tropical Jam sometimes don't tech, Osman might not tech. There's some piece at some point, maybe you don't want to tech that day.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're ready to go.
Yeah.
You warm up, you're well rehearsed, you're professional, you get the job done.
Mm.
You know?
Do you feel like there are too many shows at congresses now, and they should cap the amount of shows before social dancing starts?
It depends what kind of Congress it is. I think that there are Congresses built for recitals.
Right.
You know, like 40 shows a night for 4 nights. Because the audience is either their mate or their family or the mother and father or whoever, the grandmother. The audience is them.
Yeah.
So give the audience what they want, right? That's I've seen Congresses function that way.
Yeah.
They just get a bunch of student passes, and that's what they sell. So they got 1,000 student passes. Well, all the audience is because they want to see their students, and that's the kind of Congress you have. Then you have other Congresses where you have live bands that are going to attract that box office at night, and then you have maybe 15 to 17 shows a night, and half of them are the pros, and the other half are studio owners that have their stuff, and that functions too. You know what I mean? It kind of depends, I think, what type of Congress it is.
What do you think about Jack and Jill, about pairing dancers from out of the professional pool and putting them together with other professionals to see how they go?
I did that in the West Coast swing world. That's a West Coast swing thing. Do I think it's it's not a bad thing if they take it seriously. If they make it a joke where people taking their clothes off and they're humping on each other and they're throwing each other and all that nonsense, that's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in seeing that.
Yeah.
There are events that always ask me to do a Jack and Jill, and I tell them, is it a serious Jack and Jill? Oh, no, we're just going to have fun. I said, well, have fun on your own, because I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about musicality on the fly, you want to do some real lead follow and showcase the professionals that have good lead follow skills, let's go for it. I'm okay with that. I've done it in Calgary. I have done it in other places. I don't have a problem with it. It's when it becomes a joke, is when it becomes that I'm against it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I spoke about this with Franklin, and he highlighted the same thing. He said, what do you mean? Do you mean Jack and Jill, the actual competition side of it? Or do you mean, he said, at the moment it's being used a lot instead of shows just for entertainment?
In the salsa scene.
Yeah.
That's not the way it's done in the West Coast swing world.
Or the Zouk world, I don't think.
Exactly. They'll have a chair. They'll be featured. They go into a hat. They pick out the number, and this is the person I'm dancing with, you know. And if they get lucky, they might get their own partner. Who knows? And then we get a treat, you know. I mean, how many times did Jordan pick Tatiana, you know, or that?
Yeah.
So, you know, when you see that, you get to see some really good dancing. I think that's great.
Yeah.
When you don't see that and it's a joke, that's when I want to hide.
Yeah.
Really, we got to do that, you know?
Because there are better ways to showcase the scene instead of like you described, just taking clothes off and.
No, that's not the dancer's fault. Oh no. When Jack and Jill first came into the scene, that was in San Francisco, and this is back and it was the MC facilitated that, encouraged it, made it into that. That's why that happened, and then they copied it.
Right. Okay.
No, I was there. I witnessed it. I know exactly when it happened and how it happened, and I was appalled. I said, you guys should be doing real Jack and Jill. You got real talent here.
Yeah.
You got real dancers. I mean, they can be musical. It's at the highest level. What do? You turn it into a joke.
What year was that? How long ago was that in San Francisco?
Oh, God. 2006, maybe. 2007, maybe, something like that.
And the salsa scene adopted Jack and Jill from West Coast?
Where are you going to get it from? That's where you got it. And it just so happens it was San Francisco. Guess what? California, the hub of West Coast swing.
Okay.
Of course they got it from there. They didn't get it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Come on. It's just, you know, they did that. And of course, at the time I said, you know, This is not a good idea. Oh, it's fun. Billy, why are you always being so serious? This is the whole thing with me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always so serious. I'm always so intense. No, I just see it for what it is. And I have a tendency of looking at the future, which is nearby.
Yeah.
And guess what we got? We got Jack and Jills. They're a bunch of joke. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Because they dance for real for like 1 or 2 rounds, and then the clothes start to come off, the shoes, you know, people riding each other's back. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Girls on girls, you know, boys on boys, you know, all kinds of shit going on.
Yeah.
I became who I always was, me, you know?
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to work within the Latin community, and I wanted to do things to better, you know, to better myself and the community I live in. You know, I was really excited when the whole Congress thing happened. I mean, when the Congress thing happened, that was the best thing. I mean, because that really gave us an industry in which we can, you know, as a dancer, as a musician, as what it gave us a place, it gave us a home. And then you could excel there, you know, as long as we have it, we grow the industry properly. From a Latino perspective, you know, because salsa is all inclusive. We try to include everyone in the world. But from my perspective, you know, this was home. It was my music that I heard when I was growing up. It was my dancing that I've done, you know, and this was my opportunity to come in as a senior participant and contribute, you know. So I brought in the knowledge I had, and I started to spread that around and do what I do. And I've always done that.